Hey guys, TJ Schwartz here. Welcome back to the Edge and Flow podcast. I'm here with my co-host Lucas Burnley. We're knife makers. We talk about the art of making knives, the science of making knives, and all sorts of things related to that. How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm good. I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. It's been a
This
hot
is
minute.
this is the yeah, so we haven't recorded in 8 months.
Hmm.
And we were doing weekly for
2 or 3 years.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean it was really consistent. No specific reason. I think just both of us got very busy at the same time,
Hmm.
different reasons.
Hmm.
And it just like, I mean, this is crazy because like we just haven't even been talking. Like we talk weekly. We haven't been talking probably monthly at this point.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. That's why I'm so excited to be back on this. It's like
I know.
not just for the sake of putting it out there and letting people listen, but also just hanging out.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of like a fire hydrant though right now because I'm trying to like I was like, oh, where should we like what do we talk about? And like realizing like we're more than halfway through the year. So I
Yeah.
mean, this is kind of nuts. I've done enough shows this year that I've had every single show people come up and like ask when the next episode is going to be or like
Yeah.
ask us to record. And so that felt
I
really
get
good. So
I
we're
get
we're
that
doing it.
question everywhere I go where there's people that buy or make or collect knives.
Yeah,
Everywhere I go, I get that question.
it's
Everywhere.
nuts. Yeah, super
And I
grateful.
appreciate that. So
Yeah,
we need to stop
same.
slacking, in other words.
I know. Well, hopefully, dude. So this is kind of funny. Like BTS, we decided to set up like a little bit of a recording studio. So we're above B side shop in like this little unfinished apartment. Have run into a bunch of technical difficulties, but we're close, and it like should be cool eventually. And then
Hmm.
we're gonna come out, I think, and set you up with a very similar setup.
That'd be awesome.
Dude, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's like anything like shop improvement stuff where it's fun to get psyched about that next little level.
Yeah, yep. Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's
I'm
where we're
liking it.
at.
Yeah, yeah.
Where do we
Well,
start, man?
for this episode anyway, you guys will be able to see the difference in production quality. I got painted OSB behind me, like, all the classy establishments have.
It's good. It's good. Where are we kicking it off, man? Do we start current? Like what's going on in the shop now, work backwards? Because there's a
Mm,
lot. Or do we just
yeah.
start beginning of the year? Like, what do you want to do?
Uh, I guess it's been such a blur. I have to think for a second. I mean, quick recap. I guess I didn't go to Blade Show Atlanta. We
Okay.
did PNWCI and Idaho Knife Show, which is only like what 10 days ago. So that's a quick
Okay.
recap of places that I've been. You've been many more. Other than that, we have been working on the folding knife. So like up to now, I don't have a ton of updates other than talking about that folding knife. So I guess I can defer to you to talk about the shows that you've done before we get to that. That might make the most sense.
We can like touch a little bit on it. Actually, let's work backwards in shows. I'm really curious. You just did the Idaho show.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a small regional show,
Yeah.
right? But it's been going on for a long time.
I think it's 12th annual was this year, 12 years in a row.
Okay. And this is a show that is outside, I don't know how to phrase this, like outside of like the hypey knife sphere,
It's yeah, the Blade Show bubble, as I've called it. It's
right? The Blade Show
it's it's
bubble.
it's more related to the gun show circuit, I would say, and it's more on the side of the traditional knife maker, as in like forging, and your like antler handled knife, your
Totally.
handmade Damascus, like that's more what it is. And so Reeve, obviously being in Boise and being so close to where the show is held, they've really jumped in. I think they're a major sponsor, and Anne Reeve basically runs the show, if I'm not mistaken, or has a big part in
I
it.
was I was wondering about that if it was something that they were kind of taking
Yeah,
over or
yeah. They definitely are heavily involved. At least they're like a premier sponsor, and so turning it into more of a show that would like have more makers from different fields in the knife industry,
Right.
and just spreading out the overall appeal of the show, I think is the goal right now. And it seems like they're off to a good start. I think it's a really cool little show.
So I think at this point we're almost re-entering an era of local shows being more viable,
Hmm.
which for a long time the there was like the collector circuit and maker circuit of shows, right?
Hmm.
Where there's I don't know 4 or 5 shows that everybody did, and I think at this point that is basically gone,
Yeah.
at least for now, just because of how many like high level shows there were,
Yeah.
right? So with that happening, I think that people start to like max out. So makers are kind of like over traveled, collectors are over traveled. We've talked about this a bunch, but in that time, like I'm seeing people get more and more excited about just like their local show,
Hmm.
which in a lot of cases has never gone away. It's just not something that like a lot of the collectors were engaging with. It's like the Eugene show, right?
Yeah.
It's gone like the Oregon Knife Collectors Association. The show has gone on for something like 41 years, but it's not in like the current zeitgeist of like shows that the younger generation of collectors might be attending.
Yep. Yep.
So it's really cool. I love it. I think that those shows add just a lot of flavor to the knife industry just because it is actually at the scale where all of us start, kind of,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you're like, oh, I made these knives. I'm gonna go to the show that's an hour away or 20 minutes away, and I'm gonna try to sell some.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's almost like a farmer's market for knives,
Totally.
is the way the
For
Idaho Knife
knives.
Show feels.
Yeah,
Because
I like it.
almost every maker in the room was literally from Boise. Not There was a few that came down from like northern Idaho that I was speaking to, but it was very heavily like knife makers from Boise and the surrounding area. And so it was like just people, honestly, people I'd never met, knife makers that I've lived within 20, 30 miles of for a decade,
Dude,
and they're right
that
there.
that's the value of it,
Hmm.
right? Because not everybody is on social media or like there's so much value in interacting with people that work differently than you, make a
Hmm.
different style of knife than you, and it goes both ways, right? Like there's the way that you're making knives to a lot of guys that are just starting out or even have been like high level hobbyists or maybe where their
Hmm.
like entire income isn't derived from it. It can be like mind blowing because they're just not familiar,
Yeah.
you know it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's interesting to, yeah, I sat next to a couple really interesting guys, and some, like, there's people in there making like really high-end chef's knives
Totally.
and forging, with a bolster and all that, and it's totally different. So we had a lot of great conversations talking about the difference in our lifestyle of the way we approach knives and the way our
Yeah.
shop feels and looks. It's so different.
Well, and it's like you said, these are people that are in like your local area.
Hmm.
It's somebody that you can go and drive and visit. That
Hmm.
is, I think, man, I really love seeing it. I I think that at this point, a lot of these kind of like it's like craft craft adjacent fields where you can be both like a craft level maker or hobby level maker up to a like full manufacturer. You can start to split off and then it's like you're running different paths, but I think that the work itself is so tied together and the people that just like there's way more value in being able to like, dude, even just being at a show that has a pace that allows you to talk to
Yeah.
other makers is really nice,
Yes, for sure.
right? And value on both sides. So like to contrast that with PNWCI, that is a small show, but what, 90% not local,
Yeah, exactly. It's a
right?
destination show.
It's a destination show, but it's a weird hybrid because it's a destination show that's almost built like a local show. It's
Yeah.
in a place that isn't super easy to get to. it's not a huge show. So like from a draw standpoint, the draw isn't scale. The draw there is the maker roster
Atmosphere. Yeah.
and atmosphere, right?
Hmm.
It's a one
Hmm.
day show. Okay. It is, dude, people lined up. So people lined up for PNWCI Tuesday night
Yeah. What,
for a
72
show that
hours
opens
before?
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like I remember like Blade Show Atlanta. I remember people lining up Wednesday and just having my mind blown because you're like, dude, you're camping outside of like a giant hotel in Atlanta
Hmm.
to get in this weekend. So that I think that shows like that kind of level of like collector mentality,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. So some like that show pace wise, I think for a lot of us, like you and I were next to each other.
Hmm.
We didn't really have a conversation the whole show.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of caught up at the end.
Hmm.
I bought a
Hmm.
bunch of knives and that was it. And then the nice thing is everybody's in town for the weekend and you can like hang out and talk like
Hmm.
away and get dinner and do that. But yeah. And those were those the only shows that you did this?
Yeah, those are the only shows. We have Blade Show West coming up, so it'll be the three shows for the year.
Which Blade Show West, like that kind of feels like a local show for you,
Yeah, it's about as close as it gets to having a
right?
local show. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a easy city to get in and out of. It's like a 4.5 hour drive. We can rip down
Yeah,
there and do it.
that's a local show.
Yeah.
That's how PNWCI at this point feels like my local show, even though it's a lot of the collector base is still coming in from away. It
Hmm.
feels like it's on home ground, and that's I had that for so many years, and then for as many years was flying to every single show that I did, and so it's I
Yeah.
don't know, it's nice to be able to load up, drive to a show, like takes a lot of stress off.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of cool to make like there's almost a tradition kind of feel to it because we go
Yeah,
to the same restaurant every year. It just feels like
yeah.
it's like almost a little holiday. It's not really, but it's still work, but you're catching up with friends you only see once a year oftentimes, and you're going to the same restaurant and just sort of it's a moment that you kind of take stock of the year. It's like a little flagpole,
Dude,
little
yeah,
landmark.
well, I think most of us like are either working solo in a shop or like with a very small team. And
Hmm.
so, and it's hard, right? So I
Hmm.
think like even as an introvert going to a show for me is really satisfying because it's like you do get to see kind of the effect of the work and excitement that's past like I put it in a box and we sent the box away. And some,
Yeah.
like maybe someone says they like it, or like, you see how fast it sells online, but it's very different, like seeing it all
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing customers interact with your product, I think, is like a key component as a designer too.
Yeah.
It's like, let's say it's a mechanism or just a sheath design or something. It's like intuitively, what's the first thing people do when they pick it up? You don't ever learn that selling directly. Maybe it takes someone two or three tries to figure out exactly the most
Right.
efficient way to unsheath a knife or whatever. It's like you would not
Right.
know that. They're not going to necessarily
Or if they
say that.
struggle. Yeah. It's funny. It's those two things, right? It's like locks and kydex are some
Hmm.
of the like easiest. We get so used to interacting with our own work that's like you could have a really stiff kydex sheath and you're like, oh, I know, like pull the knife
Yep.
and you watch someone who is not familiar and they struggle. And so from a product design standpoint, like that is very informative,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And you can't, yeah, you can't fake that. Because a lot of times if someone doesn't know what they're walking into, like their first response is so authentic. If they're struggling, they don't
Hmm.
want to be struggling. If they knew how to not struggle with it, they would not struggle with it. They would just do the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty fun.
Hmm.
And in like a not fun way at the time as
Yeah.
you're
Totally.
realizing like, oh,
Hmm.
okay. I'm not going to go into all the shows I did because that would basically just be the whole episode. But we did, we've done more shows in the first half of the year than we've done in the last few years. I think we did six. I can maybe categorize seven shows up to date, which is nuts.
Yeah. That's a pile of shows.
It's a pile of shows. High points have kind of been Blade, Texas. It continues to like just be, I think, like a very fun show.
Yeah.
It scale wise, it feels like old Blade show kind of USN days like hybrid, and it has a
Hmm.
similar like it's in Fort Worth. You have enough local makers that it feels like a local show. You have enough makers coming in from away that they bring collectors, and then you have people that are just there walking the show.
Yeah.
It's a 2 day show instead of a 3 day show, which is great. um but that one feels, it continues to feel like there's hype around it that builds it, and it's solid all around.
Yeah.
And it's a fun place to go.
Yeah.
um we did I did TKI, so Tactical Invitational, for the first time in almost a decade. And then the next day did the California Custom Show. It's like they're paired. I thought it was going to be much easier. I thought in my head, I was like, well, I'm going to be in one location. It's one show. It, in fact, was not one show. It was two shows. And that was an interesting takeaway.
Hmm.
Um, I love the California shows. The It's funny. I guess maybe I'm really attaching to shows right now that feel like they have like a high local like connection point,
Hmm.
because California is the same way. Like there's a lot of guys that I hadn't seen in years just because they really were only doing West Coast shows.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's pretty nice. So yeah, overarching like big show takeaway is that people, I think right now, the like diehards are still traveling for the shows. But overall, I think people are traveling less for the main shows and staying close, which means as a maker, if you want to be able to connect to different groups, you kind of have to prioritize almost in a different way, as opposed to just being like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be at this show, I'll see everyone, this takes care of it. Now you're kind of like
Yeah. It's
leapfrogging.
more, yeah, it's more regional, which I actually kind of like in a way. I think there's some difficulty on the maker side, but I think that's almost better because it's like go meet the customers and collectors, enthusiasts where they are. And then
Yeah,
there's so many more enthusiasts that would never have gotten on an airplane to go to a show, period.
right.
So you're in, seeing people that are just into knives enough where they might drive a couple hours and get a hotel room. They might, see it in the newspaper and come in for the day or whatever.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Well, and I think the micro show, like the one maker, couple maker, essentially kind of meet and greet plus. I think those are continuing to kind of like spool up a little bit. Like Donnie Starko just had one down in Colorado called Colorado Knife Party. And it's great, man. I mean, I love it because I think that I think that as a collector, I like the idea that people actually do have to choose and prioritize. It
Yeah.
doesn't always like work out for everybody. And like, you know, like realizing like, oh, someone might choose to be somewhere that I'm not. That's okay. Because in a certain way, you're like, well, that can let in like somebody new. It's like a weird like balancing effect. But
Yeah.
it's also, I think, the urge to be able to connect, but like at that smaller scale where like you do have time to actually just go have dinner with people and like hang out,
Hmm.
and it's not like a manic rush, or you don't have to produce maybe like so much product to be able to pull it off.
Hmm.
um
Hmm.
did you remind me, did you do PNWC? You did it last year, was the first year.
I didn't exhibit last year, but I
You
was there.
came but didn't exhibit. We've talked about this a lot because you were kind of interacting with shows differently for a while. Like almost in my mind, like you're looking at shows like as a manufacturer, and PNWCI is like a very like grassrootsy, like custom feel show.
Hmm. Hmm.
Doing it this year, how how did that like play in? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we're kind of turning over a new page, if you will, because I've learned kind of over the years that fixed blades, they don't have as much traction at these kinds of shows as folders, flat out. I think I've gathered enough show experience, enough data to be pretty certain about that. And so I was always a little bit lukewarm about going to shows as a purely like outdoor fixed blade brand. So Blade West, it made sense. I think it's like the regionality of that. You have all the hunters there. It's October. That's hunting
Right,
season. Like you've got everything kind of aligned in a way where fixed blades were pretty decent at that show, but
right.
most other shows, meh. And so I kind of got out of the mindset of like I'm going to pile up a bunch of shows because of that. And so now, starting with PNWCI, I'm showing up with folders, and clearly that was the first show that I'd showed up to with folders. It was obvious. I mean, it's just unequivocal. It's a new knife for us. It's a new model, so there's some appeal because of that. But just everybody's picking up the folder. That's what the focal point was.
Straight to it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yep. So it
yeah,
all of a sudden the option of going to more of these shows is there for me. It's like now it's going to be way more worth my while. So it's yeah,
right.
it's a new world.
Or do you see now that you have the folder out, are you seeing the same thing like on the website, like or
Yeah.
mailing list? Or are you seeing, is it like, is there a
Y-
shift?
Yeah, I mean the folder is like the most demanded product since we launched it. It's been under the most demand of anything we've ever made, like not even close. I mean by 10x probably, I don't know.
Yeah, 10x.
Yeah. So
That's always what I said. When I started making folders, I didn't realize it, but I lost like a lot of my like legacy customers. I never noticed it
mhm.
because there was 10 times as many customers.
Yeah.
Fixed blade guys will always be fixed blade guys. And that's, I think, why a lot of us, like, as a fixed blade guy, you love them. And so we want to make them.
Yeah.
And there's people that love them that make it worthwhile making them. But purely from like a business
A
standpoint,
pie chart. Yeah.
yeah, if you're doing the pie chart, there's a lot of folder pie.
Yeah, it's probably 20 to 1 in the world.
20, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's really interesting. I think it's great though, because the I think that the option of like only producing folders, it's like you see enough brands that could do that that don't do it, and you
Yeah.
know that the fixed blade is not like the driver at all, but they keep them in the line.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very like knifey passion industry based response, because you're like the
Yeah.
bottom line on that thing, it does not like pencil out
Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily, right?
Well, for us, I mean, we've had the pretty good success with our fixed blade line, and I want to keep it alive. And because of us being what I would describe as more of like a manufacturer, we're going to be able to do that. I think just with
Right,
if we need more manpower, if we need more machines, we'll do that. We'll still make them. But the big question is going to be how am I going to be able to carve out time to develop new fixed blade models when comparing that effort against developing a new folding model? That is where the rubber
right,
meets the road as far as like priority for us. Because to, put the fixtures we already have in the machine and make those knives, it is a
right,
no brainer, right? More is always better.
right.
But am I going to make my next model a fixed blade? Like I would like to, telling you right now, like the next knife that I have dreamed up is a fixed blade, but by the time we're able to do that, is that going to be a reality? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's going to take
Yeah,
some motivation to stay on the fixed blade mindset from a design standpoint.
it's like a minimum maximum thing where you might just decide like, okay, I'm doing like or from a development side, it is easier to do the workup on a fixed blade than a folder. So it might just be like, okay, we do we're going to do a couple folders and then add, it's like you're adding in one
Yeah.
fixed blade, or rounding out the catalog. I'm kind of in the same boat right now. So right now the Kihoku is the most efficient thing I can make
Hmm.
from the knife standpoint. It's also probably the least like overall approachable from a design standpoint, because you hit this weird like, it's pretty big,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it just like, I look and I'm like, oh, if it was a scaled down version, like the the buying market would go up,
Yeah. Well,
right?
as soon as you go in pocket with a fixed blade,
Yeah.
you've really increased the numbers for sure.
Yeah, you
As
just,
we've
I mean,
found.
again,
Yeah.
it's like a 10x. And I see that with a lot of the collabs. So like with Boker, they've got the Kiboku, which is a downscaled Kihoku, right? You've got the Sportster. Like you just
Mhm.
see it. It's like more approachable.
Yeah.
The problem is still the development time because we still struggle with like being in the work enough that getting out of it to do the development for something else is incredibly hard.
Yeah.
In my mind right now, the next priority is improving my process for the folder designs that I already have, but am still making in a manufacturing method that is like what I knew 10 years ago
In a custom maker sort of way.
in a very
Yeah.
custom maker mindset. And
Yeah.
not even a fully a custom maker mindset, but like appropriate to my skill level at the time. Like
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
made it with what I understood of how to use the CNC machine at the time. Even on a custom side now, like I there's things that I would do differently that might give more flexibility or like just small tweaks. But the time to get those means that I have to like not be doing the work to do the upgrade,
Yeah. Totally.
you know? So I feel like that's a constant battle.
Oh, it is, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, honestly, from my side of the podcast, the reason I felt like I wasn't able to record, or at least like just fell off the horse with recording, was the amount of commitment and energy and focus that I had to apply to get this folder developed was basically everything. It was, we're still making fixed blades, we're still running the business, so I'm still sharpening all those, inspecting. Dalton's out doing a killer job running machines and stuff, but I'm still involved in that. But outside of that, it was just folder, 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 folder for
Right.
like almost a full year.
Yeah.
Just to get that, not just to have like we could have had a prototype or a knife or a design very quickly, but it's like by the time I'm wanting the first, 10, I want to be able to make 100, which is a totally different approach. You know what I mean? So it's like we
Right.
need to have vendors that can meet the demand that we require from like round part, lathe part
Right.
standpoint. We don't have a lathe, or we need fixtures that can have throughput. You know what I mean? We need designs that are manufacturable and stuff. And so learning the ropes, if you will, of making this folder for the last year, basically all consuming. So now it's like I just finished that. Now we're sort of developing process efficiency around it, which is really fun. It's probably my favorite part of it. But that's going to taper as we get better and better at making this. So then the question is, how do I set this up so that like I don't have to drop everything to do a new product next time? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
tricky
Well, and
because
that's like there's like a big question there too, which it always comes back to the like what's enough thing
mm-hmm,
where or what does a product line or process provide? Because you I think you can tailor it in a way where it's like, you know, on the extreme, if you were able to make one knife and then not have to make any more knives for the month, you're good. You have development time, right?
mm-hmm,
Somewhere in between one knife and your current production is the method to like get time
yeah,
back
and the right delegation, I think, is the
and the
X
right
factor.
delegation. And
Yeah.
that's like, so this kind of ties in just from, okay, so last year we had two employees. We lost one employee at the beginning of the year, right? I want to say like February. And that was a shop employee
Mm-hmm,
that had been with us for like a year. So what's interesting is in it since February, it's basically been Levi and I. And Levi was when he was hired, it was all like the digital media side, right?
mm-hmm,
When we lost the shop employee, we were at a point where things were getting really busy, and I was realizing that like it was a good time for Maddie to kind of like step away from some of like her stuff. The kids are getting older, like there's all this other
yeah.
stuff that's going on. But we also just lost like manpower.
Hmm.
And so we decided to like continue with the plan. So Levi basically took on a lot of like the logistic roles as well.
Hmm.
The interesting part about it is that it took it took a month or two, but we leveled out and basically started to hit like the same numbers and output as we were doing with four people.
Hmm.
And I think what was happening was I think there was efficiency that had started to like grow when we had more people, but wasn't like being optimized. And then when we got like basically cut to two people, we had to like
Yeah.
take that immediately.
Yeah. The situation where it's a requirement to be efficient is very different than when it's optional. And I
It's
learned that
option right,
exact same
right,
lesson. Yeah, we've
right.
gone through that.
It's really, really strange. In that, like it's that I think as you were starting to really push into the folder too, because you like ramped up. It's been like a year, but like this year you have been fully in it,
Hmm.
right? Like
Hmm.
all of these like final detail things and like the minutia of like the design and the mechanism, and you went through the process of this like sourcing and all of these things that really allowed you to be successful. And this is a big difference between, I think, thinking as like a manufacturer versus thinking as a custom maker, right?
Hmm.
I actually don't, the process itself a lot of times isn't the differentiating factor. It's that you could have built 10 of those at any time.
Yes,
But as
exactly.
soon as you started building 10, everything else would have slowed down and
Hmm.
you wouldn't have pushed like the efficiency past that point, I think.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
what
yeah,
happens to a lot of guys because then it's like, oh, well, we're already able to make this. And you start making the thing that automatically cuts down some of the time you
yeah.
have available. Whereas out of necessity, you had to be like, well, we need all of these components.
Yes, yeah. We set up a process in anticipation that we
Yeah.
would be like on the gas pedal as soon as we were ready to go, as opposed to like when I made the Overland, the very
Right.
first one was like a really crappy fixture on the Tormach
Right.
with a perimeter machine, hand ground. My
Yeah.
knife maker buddy, an hour away, he treats it for me. I put, scale material in a vise, cut out some scales, I hand make a sheath. That's the first one. And then it just slowly, on balance with making more and doing it that way, I was injecting more and more efficiency. But with this one, it's like,
Right.
no, all the things that I can contemplate for efficiency virtually that are like within my grasp, I'm going to
Right.
be putting into the very first one. And then that's going to be the new minimum. And then we're going to get more efficient from there. And it's just to your point, it's like easier to do that on the outset as opposed to getting stuck where it's like, demand is high. We can either make 10 of these right now and make some money or make none
Yeah.
for 3 months and then make 100. It kind of becomes tempting to just make 10 right now. You know what I
Right.
mean? And like
But
forgo
you had a
the,
product line that was already supporting like the
yeah.
business. And that
Hmm.
I think that's the key. We're in the same process right now, just in a different way. Like we've started to shift like how we do our drops. So like we're we had always done every couple weeks or like once a month kind of a big drop. And
Hmm.
we've shifted it to where we're just dropping weekly.
Yeah.
And we've seen some really interesting kind of downstream effects from this, which is one, it's like less stressful when you're not putting all of this work into one drop that
Yeah.
has to
More bite
function
sized.
flawlessly. Right.
Yeah.
And with the frequency, like for the first time in I don't know how many years, man, like we're actually getting new customers.
Hmm.
It was almost like unintentional gatekeeping for a long time because the product would move so quickly and it was infrequent enough that like The people that knew it was there, they just always got it. And
Hmm.
so now we're seeing like we'll see 3 or 4 new names in a drop. And that is amazing
Yeah, yeah,
because it's actual it's progress, but it's less about that. Like I think as makers, a lot of times it's like, dude, I would like everybody who wants something from me to be able to get it. Right. Like that
hmm,
would be great. We're limited by what we can produce. And then if demand's high, like people are good at getting things. Right.
hmm.
And on one hand, I'm just grateful that people are there to buy, but it's always nice when you're like, oh, you don't have anything of mine. And you were just able to score your first piece and you're super psyched. And that level of excitement is like
Yeah,
really contagious.
yeah,
So yeah, it's interesting, but that kind of ties into this like the manufacturing side because as we're doing those weekly drops, we're getting more efficient at the product that we can make efficiently right now,
yeah, yep,
which creates space. And it's just not the way my brain is usually worked. I think I'm really tied to like the custom mentality of like being able to make like what I want when I want to make it and like spend as much time on it
yeah,
as I want. This is like a weird hybrid because I'm getting to spend a ton of time on like small details like finishing and like thinking about graphics or thinking about like materials, but it's happening at like a on a more frequent
yeah,
like a more frequent cadence. And so I'm not feeling like bottled up where I'm like I ditch and try to just spend a week building like some weird thing.
yeah, yeah.
That's now being channeled into actually sitting down and like doing design work and doing CAD and like trying to make like larger changes. It's pretty
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah, weekly, we've been on a weekly cadence for quite a long time, and I really dig it. It's it's like I try to force our accounting onto a weekly schedule, our payroll onto a weekly schedule, our drops onto a weekly schedule. And it's like it doesn't necessarily, I could see the case that you may be like a bi-weekly or monthly. I can understand that, but having like cadence in what you're doing, and I think we've talked about this long ago on episodes, but yeah, if you have alignment and the cadence on different parts of the business working together, like just floating week to
Mhm.
week to week. It's like we have our drop and then payroll hits. We have our drop and then payroll hits. It's like it's so much less stressful to have that predictability. And it frees
Yeah.
you up to be like having fun thinking about drops. You know what I mean? Instead of like,
Yeah.
oh, that drop is not supposed going to happen for 6 weeks. Like we have to make these payments by then. You're sitting there with your like phone calculator, like, okay, we need to
Yeah.
that drop needs to be a little bigger or a little sooner or a little this or that. And it's like, no, you don't really have to think about it. You just know it's every week. And so it's as close as you can get to like having that wage earner W-2 like direct deposit type feeling where
Right.
it's like nothing's a guarantee that you're going to sell everything every week or that you're going to have something every week, but at least that's like the architecture. So it's like maybe you have a bad run of blades and you have to cancel a drop and you have to recover from that or whatever, but it's like you know there's another one coming because you've already planned ahead. It's next week for
Right.
sure. We already have something planned as a backstop. So it's just every week
Funny.
there's an opportunity.
I just had like a big sense of deja vu.
Hmm.
And so we've definitely talked about this and like
Yeah.
cadencing. And that the reality is that this is, I think, probably at all scales of business, but like especially small, I think these things just kind of are looping
Hmm.
where you're kind of coming to the same conclusion around different problems. It's not always as obvious as it seems at the outset, right? But
Hmm.
but I think like the consistency thing at this point is where I'm seeing the needle move the most,
Hmm.
right? So it's almost like the small change that you can make sure happens consistently becomes like one of the biggest changes
Hmm. Hmm.
um over a long time period, man, because it is there are so many things that work well, I think that small businesses do, and then just like don't do it again. You forget,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Or it doesn't hit the schedule. So that's like you are more organized. Like I've learned a lot from you just on that of like how your brain puts together like priority, right? I think traditionally, like I would look at finished prototype, making the thing, being able to make a few as the priority. I don't see it that way anymore. It doesn't mean that I can always move past that all the way, but at least you like, I see it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know when I'm making a choice that might not be the most efficient next step.
Mm-hmm.
And those things start to like stack. It's like what everything that you learned building the Overland, you took into the folder process. And because a folder mechanically has so much more going on than a fixed blade, that that probably saved you like exponential headache.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Not fixed blade headache, folder headache, which is
Yeah.
a different
Well, it
game.
allowed us to just the folding aspect of the knife is was our focal point. It's like how are we going to pull this off efficiently? Um, Grinding a bevel, we know how to do that. Doing a stone wash
Right.
finish, we know how to do that. Sharpening, we know how to do that. Heat treat, we got it. Like general fixture design, like some of the fundamentals, yeah, we already know how to do that. Now we just introduce the handful of things that are specific to a folder that are not required in
Right.
a fixed blade, and those become what we tackle. And so yeah, it went smoothly developing the folder. It just took a very long time because of many reasons, but
Where, because yeah, you had, I mean, you had the finished design so early. Like you had a design, right?
yeah,
95%, right?
yeah,
Where towards the end, like where were the sticking points?
yeah, yeah. Well, in the beginning there was the it took a while because I wanted to like we have this spring mechanism. If you haven't seen, like we have a YouTube video about it, but it's a patent pending spring mechanism, different than your typical Omega spring for a crossbar lock. And so in the beginning, one of the things I wanted to do is before diving into this project was convert an existing knife to that spring. So I carried like an existing older knife with my new
Oh,
spring for like a month. So it's like that happened. I was able to convince myself that it was a good idea to pursue this. So we start putting together patent application stuff and working on the design. We get the design. It's pretty quick for me to have like a 3D model of this knife of what I want to make. Like you were saying, that was pretty early on, like last year. And then it was quick to have like some frames laser cut, throw just a block of G10 in a vise and make the scales. But it was the big sticking points involved. This new mechanism has some unique features going on with it in the way that the spring interacts with the bar. And we basically, if you have like a Swiss lathe shop make that lock bar for you, it's going to be a minimum order quantity of somewhere around 1,000.
hmm.
I, did I lose you? I lost your video,
No.
but I can
Yeah,
still hear
he's
your audio.
swapping batteries.
Oh, okay, it's all good. So you want to pause? Or we good? We still
No,
rolling?
no, we're good. Keep
Okay,
running.
but yeah, if you have like a shop that has a Swiss lathe, which is the kind of machine you would want to make that part, like I said, you would have to order like 1,000 of them, and that's just because that's the requirements for setting up a Swiss lathe are it's a ton of labor. It might take like a full day or two just to set it up, and then after that, it can run 1,000 in no time.
Right.
And so it's like I didn't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars just to make one prototype. So it's
Right.
like I hired a regular lathe shop to make like five of them, and then we heat treat them. And there's a material science question going on because we have a friction element, which is you have a spring squeezing on this bar. And so it's kind of like a lock insert in a knife. It's like, what's the hardness? What's the material
Right.
on a frame
Right.
lock, right? You have to kind of figure that out. And so we roughly figured it out through that prototyping, then learned that we wanted to have DLC. So it's kind of working with these vendors on these round parts where you're waiting for them, you're testing, we built a cycle tester so that we could see what happens over like the course of thousands of cycles on these, get some data, send it out for like a certain type of coating. We sent lock studs out to like, I don't know, five different DLC coding companies just to see what different results we get, different prices, and how that would work out. So we finally got like the metallurgy and the science behind the spring and just the bending of the spring. So it's really heavily involved in just making that lock work right. And so it's just waiting on a vendor, getting data, waiting on a vendor
Yeah.
again, getting more data, doing our own thing. And a lot of these things, it's like, yeah, it works, but it's like, let me put it in my pocket for a month and then does it still work? You know what I mean? So it's not like immediacy. It's not just like, does it fit? There's more to it than that. There's how does it survive
Well, and it's
use?
not all self-contained or controlled. I mean,
Yeah.
just the fact that you were going through the iterations, having different shops make components, testing those components, like that's an insane amount of work. And again, like a lot of small shops, it's kind of like you make it work with what you have, you make it work with something off the shelf, you make it work with something you build internally.
Yeah.
And it's it's often, I think, if you're making things internally, it's less efficient overall until you're at the point where you do have like a Swiss,
Hmm.
but it feels fast because you're
Yeah.
moving, right? So
Yeah.
like a lot of the work that you are doing is what is allowing you to make with the efficiency that you're making now. But like, dude, God love you. That's like insane up to the point where you're actually able to produce it because it's like
Mm.
there's no real movement.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just trying to like
It's pretty agonizing.
95% there. Yeah, that's
Especially
crazy.
because I really subscribe to the view that if you're developing a product, you should really wait until it's pretty much ready to go before you even like publicize it.
Yeah,
And it's just like, man, it just gets off into the weeds if you like jump the gun and announce that you're working on it and show it off too early. It's like people get bored of seeing CAD, people get bored of seeing not real stuff, 3D prints or
right,
whatever. People have kind of like the excitement bubble can kind of burst before you even sell anything. And it's like, well,
right.
to waste that like initial interest on like something
Yeah,
that's not for sale is kind of just not a good strategy. And
yeah, because
so
you never teased it.
no, we held our tongue to the very last. Like it was probably a week or two before they were for sale that we actually showed it off. And
That's
so
wild.
that was hard. That was one of the hardest parts. And part of it is because it's like not really recording a podcast, not a lot of like if you were to go on our Instagram feed, not a lot happening. It's
Right.
like if you were like someone who paid a close attention to us, you might be like, wow, they're kind of in like a slump or something. It's like, but deep down, I just want to share with everybody that we've been like transforming the company from within this whole time.
Yeah,
So just from a like creative standpoint, that was hard to hold on to it, but here it is.
yeah.
So it feels good.
It's also, I mean, like with the pod, it's also hard. Some of the stuff that we're doing becomes like it's slow form where
Mm,
you're in a problem for a very long time.
yeah.
And if it is also a problem that is kind of all consuming, it gets hard to like get on and have a conversation and not
Yeah.
instantly just be mulling over
Yeah.
like the
Well,
same problem.
especially if it's a topic you're not going to bring up on the podcast, really.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Ooh.
like, so it's like 80% of my thoughts all week are, how am I going to get this folder to work? And then you ask me, what'd you do this week? And it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What did I do that I
Yeah. But
want
you're
to
also
talk
not
about?
thinking past that. That's the
Yeah.
problem. It's like you and I love looking at the industry. We love looking at like things that are coming around or machinery or whatever it is or changes, ebb and flow. But when you're also not doing that because you're just like insanely myopic on like this one thing,
Hmm.
it's pretty tricky.
Yeah.
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 I don't know, man. It's yeah, it's pretty interesting because now that so the folder is released to the world, you are just in production mode. Where like you have some changes coming up. Like what can we talk about?
Yeah. We had a really brief interruption there, but we were just about to dive into new developments beyond
Yes.
the
And
folder
that
having.
that pause was related to the new development, which is
Yes.
great because I got to ask you if we could then talk about that,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
you said okay. Okay,
Yeah.
talk about it.
So we're moving. We're gonna get into a new shop in about 2 months, 3 months, probably 2.5 months.
Oh man,
And our lease on the new place starts October 1st, but I'm kind of planning for like a 2 month overlap overall,
smart.
so that we can not be in a hurry. This new place is really well set up. It's like a almost brand new building, so there's not a lot to do. But I just want to not be in a rush because we got Blade Show West that month and stuff. And yeah, we're moving just 15 miles down the road to a town called Emmett, Idaho. It's a bigger town, closer to Boise. Uh, Basically, brand new building and brand new industrial park. So it's really, really, really clean. Really nice place, and we're very excited. It's gonna be cool.
Dude, that's big. You've been in the current place for
3 years.
2 years, 3 years.
January will be three. It's
Dude,
unbelievable.
dude, it's crazy. It's the same. Like we haven't seen you in a little while. It's like you see the kids and you're like,
Yeah,
oh man, like it just is like these like shifts, dude. Like, not to digress too much, Bo is on his like first big like family trip. So his grandparents came out, picked him up, and took him back. So Bo's doing 2 weeks right now on Cape Cod, like, which is freaking sick. But like also like as it was happening, I'm like, what the heck, dude? Like it's just like a shift. You're like, it's a
yeah,
9-year-old dude. He's like just got his 9-year-old dude stuff in his backpack and like he's got
yeah.
comic books and he's like psyched to go on a trip. And I'm like, that's the first time. That's the longest he's been away from us.
Kids,
Uh,
kids are
so
always the litmus of time, the passage of time, because
specifically other people like friends and
yeah,
families, kids that you don't see and then you
hmm
see again. Dude, we had family in town right now. I was buying some drinks and I was like, oh, I gotta get Gus some root beer. And then realized Gus is like 6'1" and 21 years old. And I'm like,
yeah,
what? Like it
yeah.
just
It's
is
so
like
crazy.
different, man.
Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. It's Jesse. He brought Jesse Jarris brought his
Yeah.
wife and kids over there with at Seaside, and we're talking to him, and we hung out our family with their family. I don't know, some years back, and it's one of those things. Same exact. It's like feels like it was 6 months ago we saw him, and then you see the kids like that was not 6 months ago. That
Nope.
was what, three
Time
years ago,
flies.
4 years ago,
So
something.
your shop baby is growing up. So you've been in that shop for 3 years.
Hmm.
You went from a very small home garage.
Yeah.
You were doing full production inside of that garage, which is insanity, into how many times bigger is the space that
So
you're in?
we had a 300 square foot shop, two machines, two guys working in there. We went to 3,000, which is our
Yeah.
current space, which if
You
you walk in
10
right
extra
now,
space.
it's empty. The building is still
Right.
empty. We've been here three
Right.
years. It like CNC machine wise, 3,000 square feet is like a very large company. Like
Yeah.
we could like be 5 times our size output wise and still be in this building. So it's not like a space constraint thing. We're actually downsizing a little bit because we're basically the current building we're in is like it's a rough building. It's kind of in a rough area. Like it's not a super inspiring place to be overall.
Right.
I don't like it very much here. It just is extremely functional. It's large. It's got all the power and HVAC that we would need. So like I can't make a business case really directly to not be here, like dollars and cents
Quality of
wise.
life.
But that, yeah, just overall quality of life and just presentability, I guess. We're going to
Yeah.
downsize a little bit and move up in like the just clean and just tidy area, nice part of town, all that stuff. And so I think that's going to work out really well because honestly, it's kind of to the point earlier of like having some reason to be space efficient, I think is good. I think there's some danger like having so much space that we have. It's like we walk all the way across the shop to go like talk to somebody and walk all the way back.
Right.
It's like 70 feet to walk over there. It's like, why are we doing that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just because,
I've
so
only had one big shop. It was 2,400 square feet, but that was after we left Albuquerque, moved to the Cape, moved into 2,400 square feet. And it was shocking how much it changed workflows. And like you do the thing where you expand, you go out to like all the walls, and then you're
yeah,
like, you just have these like this chasm and it feels really strange. The thing that's odd to me is like, so right now we've got two shops. They're both about the same size, like 1,000-ish square
yeah,
feet. I have one shop that's completely full, one shop that's empty.
yeah.
But it's because of the tools and the processes that are related right now.
Hmm.
If I was to move into 2,000 square feet, I would go, or 3,000 square feet, I would go back to the same thing of the shop feeling empty. And so there's this weird
Yeah,
divide where you're like in between 1,000 square feet and 3,000, like obviously there's 1,500, there's all these numbers, but I think there is some weird metric
yeah,
for how a shop layout works at any size that isn't as clear as like we need more space.
Yeah. And the new shop we're going into, the nice thing is they were just finishing a brand new building with like the whole gamut of the unit sizes. And then they had a couple units in the like building that had finished a year ago. So that I had
Mm-hmm.
like anywhere from like 600 to 2000 square foot as an option. And we toured all the units and I did like rough floor plans and stuff. And we landed on an 1800 square foot space. So we're lopping off about 1,000 square feet down going into this building. But I don't basically based on the floor plan, we're still going to have room to grow. And my thoughts are one of the benefits of those industrial style parks is if we do need to, you can just get another unit in the same
Right.
space. So you don't even have to move. You can
Yeah.
just jockey for more units and then you could scale up. If you run into some trouble, you could scale back down. But as our like core unit, 1,800 square feet is like it feels like on paper a good size for us right now. So I'm
That
just super
feels
excited.
if I could put all of my equipment into 1800 square feet, yeah, I feel like it would probably, depending on layout, like for us, like we need a grinding room, we need like some things still, but that feels right. One thing that's been fun, so the plan with these two shops, and I think we had talked about this way back, was basically I was going to have one shop that kind of was the machine shop and production, and then the other side was going to be more kind of like my space of like prototyping and like finish work, but it was going to give more space around that also,
Yeah,
and creating a little bit more of just like a general like maker space vibe where it's like I've got over on that side, like I've got all my forging equipment, I've got welding stuff, like I've
hmm,
got like the little bit of woodworking tools that we have, like and the idea that I could like, oh, build something with the kids on a weekend and it wouldn't mess with whatever production didn't finish Friday.
yeah,
What happened was with just me, that doesn't work, right? So if I'm the only
hmm,
one in the shop, it's like I need to be able to be running the machines and the tumblers, and I need to be anodizing and doing all these
yeah,
other things. And so we kind of pulled the band-aid, but it emptied the other shop. And I didn't expect that. Like
hmm,
it looks like a normal right now, it feels like a normal, like big garage, and it's weird.
yeah,
Just recently we took the grinding room and we're repurposing that for leather, for a leather shop.
hmm.
And that, so I don't know if you remember, like back in the day, Joey had a brand called Scout Leather.
Scout, yep, sure
Yep.
thing.
Okay.
Hmm.
So he hasn't run that for a long time. He was running a lot of product for us. And essentially he was kind of like, dude, you guys should just take this over. So we have all of the old like Scout dies.
So
And
you need to
he's
buy a
basic,
clicker, is what you're saying.
we have a clicker.
Oh, you do?
So like
I didn't
yeah,
know that.
this because this is the ADHD thing, is like I bought a clicker probably 4 years ago because we had been talking about this then, and then just didn't
Hmm.
really have the space to do it. Now we have like this really, really nice space that was a grinding room, now is a leather working room, and is big enough for that to scale.
Yeah,
um and it's really fun, like you just see like, oh, you move the pieces, and so now that part's like not feeling as empty, and I still have project room for the kids. We're just at a like a manpower deficit right now,
yeah, yeah.
right? So that actually ties in. Next question. New space, do you hire?
Yes. Yeah. Probably before is kind of what I'm thinking, but it's going to depend on if we can find the right person,
The right
because
person.
I think the key thing is never feeling pressured to hire and
Yeah,
like overriding your sense of need
just
for
lost the
like
screen.
the right person. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You cannot see me. He's okay. We're
Video
just
out.
rolling.
All
uh
right. But yeah, just like not rushing the hiring process. It's like I
right.
had a business advisor tell me it's like hire slow, fire fast, which the hire slow part is
Dude,
the part
great.
that I'm thinking about right now, which is like don't rush into it. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to waste
Right.
their time with hiring the wrong person. You don't want to waste your time, your resources. Like, so I would like to hire like basically ASAP. But how long that takes, we're gonna find out.
So,
We're
but I
just
mean that with a move a couple months away, it means like within weeks you are putting feelers out.
mhm.
You are starting to look for someone.
Yeah, the current thing is I got to frame in my mind what the person is, like what the role is,
Right.
because I could see coming at it from a few different angles. Because it's like we're at a point where we're like needing pressure relief valve for both myself and Dalton, and so it's like somebody could come in that is like a really entry level employee that takes over a lot
Right.
of the things that are like eating away at our time. That's someone that'd be pretty easy to train, or we could bring someone with like a ton of expertise who's like maybe a machinist programmer that's going to take over some of that stuff. Or more administrative to free up more of my time. It's like we just need more man hours, like you were said.
Right.
We're in a
Yeah.
man hour deficit, and so it's
Yeah.
like which angle do we come at, which makes the most sense. I'd have to frame that in my head because this revelation is pretty recent that we need to be hiring. So
Right.
yeah,
We're going through the same thing, and we're having like a pretty ongoing conversation around like who gets a new employee. And there's like very distinct arguments on either side. So if I get an employee, we get more manufacturing output in the shop theoretically, but
yeah,
it also comes maybe at a slower progression. If Levi gets an employee, and you have to remember, we're now split between two shops, right?
yeah,
So if Levi gets an employee that he is actively managing, he gets potentially like shipping help is an obvious one, right? But there's a bunch of other kind of maybe like inline tasks. Like maybe they're like he's running a laser right now. Maybe they're running the laser. Maybe it's like where does it free him up? So if it frees him up, he can do more around like the marketing side. He can do more of this right here,
mm,
like podcast side, right? Um, but that drives product. And so you're like, well, do you make the product first or do you increase like the visuals first? So it's
yeah,
like we're tied up. The leather is actually an interesting one because it actually does both. Where I'm like the the process is teachable. It's actually really enjoyable. I mean, like I don't have to tell you this, right? Like it's an enjoyable process.
hmm,
It's also visually beautiful. So like and that person could probably also multitask out to do some shipping,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or something like that, but
Well,
they're still revenue generating.
I'm always envious, a bit of a tangent, but I'm always envious of the leather workers because my dad is one, and the shop is quiet. You leave the
Oh,
shop sparkly clean. There's no oil
I
on you. There's no
know.
metal chips. You can listen to classical music and do it. You can do what, yeah, I'm like pretty jealous. Or you can like my dad's doing it in an enclosed trailer with solar panels. Yeah, it's I'm a
Dude,
little bit envious of
the
that.
tools, like as a tool nerd, like I've been going down the rabbit hole and like I don't know if you're familiar with Dream Factory, but it's a Korean like leatherworking they make leatherworking
Hmm,
machines and
I'm not
tools.
familiar.
Dude, I'll send you some pictures, but like I just want to touch them. And
Hmm.
so I went in the other Joey went to PNWCI with us, and when he came back, he was doing some like leather work training. And I came in and it was exactly that. Dude, there's air conditioning. My new shop doesn't have air conditioning. So I'm coming in, I'm like hot, I'm dirty, I'm like covered in metal dust. They're all in there like listening to music with AC. There's like a plant in the corner and they're all like hand stitching. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yep. Yep.
But all that to say, like the the employee priority thing is a pretty interesting problem to solve. Uh, Rabbit hole. Have you read any of like the Toyota like lean manufacturing stuff? Like, have you read a machine that the machine that changed the world?
No, and I should. I've read a lot about it from a like kind of a 10,000 foot view, and it's
Yeah,
inspired me
yeah.
a lot, but I should read a more like direct
I'll
account.
send you. Oh wait, I'll have Levi put that in the show notes.
There we go.
Thick, dude. Okay, that one basically they it was done, I think it was written in the 80s. So it was early on. They came back and did like an update in the early 2000s, but it talks about like mass production, which
Hmm.
was Henry Ford, right? Interesting, like side note, I don't know that in the knife industry, like true mass production exists.
If it
Okay.
does, it's like Opinel and Swiss Army.
Yeah, that would be that. So Swiss Army was going to be the one that I
Yeah.
was going to say that that probably is the closest,
Hmm.
but it's a really interesting kind of process to learn about. It goes from the way that cars were built originally was like these craft producers. Dude, it's the knife industry. You're kind of like whether it was always it's like a team, but like you're basically building like one car at a time. It's like very
Yeah.
recognizable. Our mass producers in the knife industry are closer to that often
Hmm.
than mass production. So like a real knife company with big numbers and a lot of employees, they're a lot of times still closer to a craft producer
Yeah.
in like this
Well,
tradition of
one of the things
manufacturing.
to illustrate that is like if a CNC machine is touching a part,
Yeah,
it's probably not actual mass production.
right.
Like your car that you drive, almost nothing in that thing was touched by a CNC machine.
Yeah,
The CNC
by a
machine
human.
made the tool that stamped the parts out like in 1 second a piece. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
CNCs are
Crazy.
considered slow, expensive, which in the knife
With a
industry, they're
yeah,
considered fast and efficient.
yeah, with a human operator that is usually has some skill level. And that so
Yeah.
Henry Ford's thing was actually that like you could have almost an untrained workforce that was interchangeable because all
Mm.
you had to do was come in and push a button and that machine did the work.
Yeah.
Toyota's thing was it's different in a lot of ways, but just thinking about it in your situation right now, one thing that they did that I think has a lot of value is like the engineers would move through the production floor. I sent you something on Instagram recently talking about how like mechanical engineers benefit from seeing their parts made, which is like it almost is so obvious of a statement that it feels ridiculous,
Yeah.
except it's not that common,
No, you're
right?
right.
But if you look at a hire, so it's like you in my mind, you would almost need if say you wanted to hire a machinist, you would almost need to hire a machinist that had the capacity to be okay with spending like, dude, you're spending a month in shipping because you need
Yeah.
to see how the product is shipped. You're spending a month in sheets. And
Yeah.
if they're like, no, I'm a machinist, it's probably not a good fit for a company of our scale.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's whoever we're hiring at our level of staffing, you could say call us a startup. It's like we need Swiss Army knife people. We need
You need Swiss Army
multi-talented,
knives,
not
100%.
necessarily even multi-talented, just like someone who is high in like the openness personality
Right.
trait, right? It's just like,
There's ego, there's a humility that comes with that, right?
mhm,
And I think as like I always hesitate to use the term like founder, but it's a founder's principle, which is like you and I know how to do every job in our respective companies to a point. There is a point where you will no longer be the most efficient person.
mhm,
There are things now that have moved past my understanding of how they function currently. And like,
yeah,
we're really
same.
small, right? But you still did all of the work initially to have a foundation where even if you're not related to it, you can step in and ask a valuable question.
Mhm.
I think that that is the struggle with hiring at our scale. That's the slow hire thing because what's the test for that other than just being like, do we need help shipping? Like,
Yeah,
we need help in leather. We need help in like,
yeah.
can you grind to this line? Can you set a tool? Can you whatever it is?
Mhm.
And are you like humble and curious enough to be able to do that?
And I'm inclined to think what we're describing, it's more of like a collection of personality traits than it
Yeah,
is a collection of competencies. You know
right.
what I mean?
It's the
It's not,
person, not the skill.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's just a
Exactly.
personality.
Hmm.
Two things related to that. A long time ago, um, I think it was Dave Wattenberg from ProTech that had mentioned something like very similar about like some of their best hires weren't like the aerospace retired aerospace machinist or
Yeah.
something. It was just a kid who was coming into the shop and really loved ProTech and
Yeah.
just wanted to be there. And
Hmm.
then had an aptitude when they started training, got hired, but was like, it's like the getting hired in the mailroom thing. Like you're just psyched to be there. You know, there's a place to go.
Hmm.
Don't necessarily know where it's going to go, but then the aptitude and like the drive gets you there.
Yep. Yep.
Right. The other thing is kind of unrelated, but dude, there's a bunch of people in the knife industry hiring right now. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Yes, I do. I have
Dude,
noticed that.
that feels really good.
It's really good, except for half of them are within a proximity to me, so I'm gonna have to like compete directly with them. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude,
But actually, a little bit.
you need a really good drinks fridge.
Yeah,
Dude,
there we go.
the snack shack, like, dude.
Yeah, I
But it
know.
is, but in our industry, like I almost feel like I could count on one hand the number of job postings that I've seen,
Hmm.
except for this little block of time this year. Like I've seen like three or four within the last month.
Hmm.
That's really good.
Yeah, I love it. It's really good
And
news.
now you're going to have one. And then we're going to cut this podcast up and we're
Yeah,
going to make a hiring reel.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it scares me, dude, because like I mean, I've run a business with employees for like 4 years now, but I don't know much about hiring because I've only done it in a real way. I've only hired one person ever because I didn't even touch on it, but I last time we
Right.
recorded, I had two full timers and we went back down to one. And uh
You did it too.
yeah, yeah. But Steven, it's like it wasn't really a hire because he was our Cerakoter as a third party. He was a vendor.
Right.
So it was like he was a contractor for a long time and then he started doing some part-time work for us. So it was like he was always like on the bubble of like he's working for us, but he's a contractor. He's doing the Cerakote, but also he's helping us with sheets. So it's like it wasn't like I interviewed him or anything like that, or like there was no job listing. He's
He was
just
absorbed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
he still does Cerakote work for us and stuff like even today. So it's like he's just sort of moved through like the periphery of working with us and for us. Whereas Dalton,
Hmm.
it's like I put out like a legit listing on like a local Facebook page and like actually interviewed a couple people. And so it's like I don't know enough about it. That's only one point of experience, so it scares
Yeah.
me a little
What's
bit.
your, dude? I mean, is it
I've never been
this
hired
point?
really either.
At this point, is it? That's the other thing. I've also, I've had very few jobs. The only job that I ever really was like true interview was being an instructional tech at the community college in Albuquerque.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird. I didn't know. I mean, I was probably like 21 at that point. I did get the job, but like that was 22 years ago.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's a weird thing. I think sometimes like you've had employees for 4 years. I feel like I am very much like learning to work with employees. And a lot of that is that I don't have that much experience as an employee, but
yeah.
I
Me
have
neither.
also had employees for, I mean, it has to be 15 years now
Yeah.
of some kind. And yet
Hmm.
every time I go to hire, I like freak out like it's my first time and I've never had anyone work with me before.
Well, I mean, that part of that's a good thing though, I think, because it's like if you have to take hiring seriously. It's like I don't want to waste people's time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I don't want my time and resources wasted, but also like for someone looking for a job who may or may not have a family or whatever their situation
Yeah.
is, like this is like one of the biggest things they can decide in their life for most people is like what are you going to do for work?
Right.
And it's like the nervousness of me getting burned, but also just making sure I come with the right expectations, hiring the right person, make sure I'm not like wasting someone else's time, making sure it's worth their while, you know, it's like there's some pressure on that aspect of it. I think that's a big part of it for me. It's like maybe it's like almost an insecurity of like the like imposter syndrome of like
100%.
why am I hiring someone like there's no way we actually can pull this off. Like I'm gonna burn them and they're not gonna have a job. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't
It's
rationally make sense, but
Yeah, but the
it's
fact that you're worried about that, like,
mhm.
is the indicator that like you are probably thinking about it in the right way because you care enough to be like, there are consequences tied to my actions,
Yes.
right?
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
I also think I also think it takes, as you start to find the right people and put them in place, I think that metric starts to change. I
Hmm.
think like I look at good art pretty frequently as a company where like when you go in, you're like, people are psyched and they've got enough people to where you're like, some people are psyched because they have this job that they like, right? Doing the thing that they have an aptitude for inside of a company that is taking care of them. And then you're like, oh, the people that are working on teams, like they all really like being a team. And
Hmm.
you can see that like they're having fun with it and being successful. We had a it was in Texas. One of our collectors mentioned the idea of like business as dollar points. And I was like, oh yeah, like that totally tracks. You're like winning in that way where you're like, oh, the team is like doing well. And like there's like this, and okay, it's like funding this or like new equipment, right? And you're like, oh, this new equipment goes in this side. It's like Sims, but real related to
Yeah. It's
business.
like farming simulator or whatever it is.
Dude,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like Knife Shop Simulator is
Yeah.
thick.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. So you're hiring, and it's going to be you're going to post on social media,
Yep.
probably.
Yep. I want to establish what it is that I'm doing, looking for.
Yeah,
And then I think that'll inform because I need to decide whether it's more entry level or more experience based. Because if it's more entry level, it's a little bit different proposition because it's, you know, I'm not going to have to specifically request like certification or experience, you know, in CAD or whatever it is in that
right.
case.
You know the when we did that OMAP kind of like process, he mentioned to me, he was like, I don't think you need like a dedicated machinist,
Hmm.
which this goes back to the imposter syndrome thing. Like, I'm not a machinist, right? So I'm very aware of my shortcomings when it comes to machining and fixture design and all of these things. I also happen to love it and like making things. So I get to do it, but I'm not the best person at that specific thing. His point was, he's like, you need a little bit of development to go really far with what you want out of the business. He's like, if you needed a lot of development and a lot of fixturing and a lot of production improvements, he's like, you would like be able to occupy a machinist time. He's like,
Yeah.
right now, a machinist is going to spend a little bit of time really helping you get some things running and then get bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a good, that's like not something that I had thought about in that way.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And that is part of where like the anxiety comes from for me in that same way is like, that's why I think the description of the job needs to be so accurate
Yeah.
because you're setting an expectation for the employee coming in. And it's like if I explain like this is what you might be doing, this is what you could be doing, it's like we all know that there's employment situations where 80-90% of what they said you could be doing is like the aspirational cool stuff. And that's not what you're going to be doing at all. You know what I mean? So it's like I want to make sure that we have that right. You know what I mean? It's like when if you bring someone
you
in
are
for an
probably
interview,
better you are better set up to capitalize on that than I am. I think part of me is like style of no style in my mind where it's like, oh no, you have no job description, right?
hmm. Hmm.
The problem with that is that when a job description is the priority, okay, now we need you to do this and we need you to do it for an extended period of time. A lot of times, the person who is okay with not having a job description will now struggle with that consistency.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is that is tricky. And again,
Hmm.
that's like the whole like if you build a business, you have to do that. be like
Yeah.
doing all these different things.
Yeah.
So I think that goes into like the personality side of an employee where some people are okay with moving around. Some people just want to do the thing. They do just
Yeah.
want to be a press operator. Click,
Yeah.
click, right? Dude. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know. We're going to try. Our thought was try to make it through like maybe the end of the year without hiring
Yeah.
because we're getting some things running in some pretty good ways that almost feel like adding someone else into it right now just slows it. It's kind of like you with sourcing the hardware. It feels
Hmm.
similar. It's like if we're close to having leather probably functional and being able to train for it. We
Hmm.
would then run into our own inability to produce enough. But if we can get it to the point where it's ready to be taught, then we put someone and now they're efficient. Otherwise, I feel like there's a lot of like inefficiencies around like figuring things out
Yeah. Yeah.
and not being able to communicate that
Y-
clearly.
Yeah. And I think that's a excellent way to go about it because I having and also having like a little bit of a mental organization about like okay if they are very productive and an awesome employee and this works out great and they actually exceed expectations and it's like oh the work I had for you only takes half the week
Right.
that's where it's like having some idea of like optional growth categories for the business
Yes.
is nice, even if it's just for like the person doing the hiring, just for like our peace of mind of like, I don't think we're gonna make X product, but if we just get really efficient and we start to have like too much manpower all of a sudden, that's what we're gonna do, and it's just gonna be in the hopper. And it's like I look at, for example, like our scalpel knife that we used to make. It's like
Yep.
it's a little knife with no handle scales or nothing. We
Right.
killed that long ago. And it's like I've started to think about that. I was like, if I had that's still there, I still have the design. I get asked about it on a
Yeah.
reg every show I go to.
Right.
People
It's
ask me
not
about it.
your priority. It's not where your time is best
Yeah,
spent. That does not mean it's not valuable.
yeah, exactly. So it's like
There's a lot of, right.
if you have some of that, like I said, even if it's not a practical thing you end up doing, but you just have it in the back of your mind of like, no, we're not going to have so much manpower and nothing to do with it because we would do this. And then if we got to capacity on that, then we would do this and we would do this. You know what I mean? Because as creatives with experience in the industry, we have this like sort of portfolio of ideas that maybe some of them were partially matured at one
No
point or
kidding.
not. And it's like any one of those could be called up to bat. You know what I mean? So it's all about
Right.
um, having confidence when you go to hire. At least that's my approach to it. Is like we will find something to make it worth their while make it worth our while to do this hire. It's just important that we get the right person. Period.
In place. That is a reoccurring theme actually, which is every time I've been nervous to hire because I wasn't sure what the person was going to do, it immediately sorted itself out.
Yeah, yeah.
There's always something to do,
Like
and we just lost screen.
yeah, I can still hear it. Frame it.
Okay.
Frame it this way. How many times do you yourself go into your shop and think, I have nothing to do this week?
Dude,
Have you ever?
the veritable like storm inside my head at all times.
Yeah.
I can't
So,
even fathom that.
so yeah, exactly. So it's like my point being, if you were to like duplicate yourself, you have another employee
Yeah.
that's going to like start to augment. It's like, what makes you think that that's going to all of a sudden occur where you're like, I don't have anything to do all of a sudden. It's like, no, you have ten times what you can do, you have in your head. So that's kind of where I'm at too, is like, I kind of forget that sometimes.
Maybe we can call on the brain trust a little bit. Like, guys, if you do hiring or you do like placing or anything, like leave us leave us comments or like tell
Yeah.
us like give us tips around hiring or like prioritizing an employee. Like I'm always curious how people in other industries do this stuff. So yeah, I would always like help figuring this out.
Yeah. Certainly.
It's a weird a lot of times when we'll talk, I'll see like a theme go through. It feels like this one is actually kind of around like basics or like foundational principles,
Yeah.
right? It started with the knife show thing. Like right now, small scale knife shows that are local in nature feel like a foundation like that. Oh, you're a knife maker, go to a show. Doesn't mean you need to go to Atlanta. It means you need to go to a small show in Boise, right? And
Hmm.
show work and meat makers get critiques. That's like basic principles.
Hmm.
The work around the folder, it's like the fixed blade that you did, what were foundational principles that allowed you to then take on this much more complicated process, right? You look at hiring and you're like, it's foundational. Like, what is the work? What is like basic?
It seems like both of us are looking forward at a major state of flux and directional change for our
Yeah,
businesses. We need to be documenting it. So we got to keep recording.
we do. Here's one like recently, and I feel like this is not like an unknown thing, but for some reason it has felt like it more. So I am a knife maker. I feel like I am a knife maker. I've made knives for the last 24 years. I do feel at this point that Burnley brand feels almost like a creative agency or something. Like there is enough of a small shift where I'm like, man, and it might be around like Levi and like the way our content is doing. It might
Yeah.
be around the fact that we've been able to do like more apparel, but also like the artwork side of the apparel and like imagery. But like part of it, I'm like, it feels really fun. And it's in the back of my mind, it's like opened this little door of not worrying about if like things fit inside of certain boxes, which is
Yeah.
crazy because I don't think externally like most people would say that's how like I as a maker have operated.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
lately it feels like there's a lot of flexibility just to like play with the business.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's awesome. I think it's important that I mean, hired Levi. I think it seems like he's been a major uh, force multiplier for you because it does
Yeah,
seem like you're able, obviously, to play a lot more. Because I mean, I saw your pop up in Seaside and stuff going to all these
totally.
shows. I think that's important. The delegation to allow yourself to be freed up to do the things that you enjoy and you're good at. Obviously, it's the cliche, but it's the facts.
But it really is. That's like the ultimate, right? Through all of this. It's like it's the desire for efficiency so that I can have inefficiency
Yeah,
as a significant part of my personal time. Like just like being able to play while working, I think yields such like good results. It just also is like
yeah,
if that's the day to day like bread and butter, it's not functional
yeah, yeah.
until finally you get to a point and it is
The
right.
business needs an engine room.
Yeah, it needs an engine room.
It need.
And it yeah, well said. When are we going to record again?
Let's do it next week. Let's get back
Are
on
we
it.
going to do it next week?
Let's do
Okay.
it.
I think we should call it. I'm getting like spooled up, and I can
Yeah, I
tell I'm
know.
going to go off the rails.
Yeah.
We got like some of the foundational stuff out of the way. I'm excited. I'm excited just to
There's
be
like
able to
five
jump on the
topics I
phone.
wanted to talk about in this episode that I'm
I
realizing are
know.
absolutely not going to happen. So
No,
we'll
no,
come back to it.
save them. I think this is great. It feels really good. I'm just excited to have a phone call with my friend.
Heck yeah. Same.
And yeah, if you guys are
And
still listening to this pod, thank you for being patient with us. Let us know what
yeah,
you want us to talk about.
if you cross the desert of our lack of hosting and are still here, yeah, applaud you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the
And
numbers.
one question: do I get to call Levi young Levi?
I mean, his head didn't even move. So I think that's probably a yes. Yeah. Young Levi. He also doesn't have audio, so it's great.
Okay.
Uh he's psyched, dude. This will be really fun because now we've got like we could do some like fact checking real time and like
Yeah.
looking up some. We're not fully utilizing the system yet,
Yeah.
but we will.
Uh-huh. This is fun.
Yeah, I'll let young Levi know that you said that.
That's great.
All right, man. Guys, thanks for listening. Leave us a comment, whatever. Just
Yeah.
glad to be talking again.
Appreciate you guys. Peace.
Yeah. All right. Take it easy, bro.